fun time it has been this year on Terrific TV Toys, looking at a bunch of Snoopy PVC figures in the context of the various animated primetime TV specials featuring Charlie Brown and the gang. Now, these are figures once seen on a store shelf near you with a small box of Whitman's candy and the like. We looked at Valentine-themed ones in the context of the Be My Valentine Charlie Brown special. We looked at Easter figures, and then we talked about the Easter Beagle. We looked at summer and sports-themed figures and talked about a few other Peanut specials focusing on summer activities. Then we talked about the Great Pumpkin and looked at the Halloween-themed PVCs most recently. Now we are at the final episode of this mini-series, which is the Christmas episode. And that means the very first animated primetime TV special of the Peanuts gang, which was A Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, we have highlighted that Christmas special before on Terrific TV Toys. You saw a really nice set of figures that were straight out of the TV special in a Christmas episode of this series a few years ago. Charlie Brown and Linus and Lucy and all that. Great set of figures. But this time, let's talk a bit about the history of that landmark TV show. And for this, and I only have 3 of these PVC figures this time, but I got a couple other things I'm going to show you too. But to talk about the history of A Charlie Brown Christmas, I have got a book that I recently dug out of my collection and actually read for the first time. This is Charlie Brown and Charlie Schultz. It's kind of a beaten up hardcover book, and it is by a name that you might recognize, Lee Mendelsohn, okay? And he talks about the history of the Charlie Brown phenomenon of Charles Schultz and the creation that is Peanuts, the comic strip and all that. But he also has this chapter, and it's called You're in Show Business, Charlie Brown, Chapter 4. And I found it very interesting because he talks about the evolution of this TV show that we know and love. Mendelsohn was a fan of Peanuts, and he first got an idea to do a documentary about Charles Schultz's career that would include some, maybe just a few pilot animated sequences. That was his idea. Because up until that point, there had been dramatizations of Charles Schultz's gang of Peanuts characters in a few short TV commercials for Ford. So that's all there had been up until that point. This is the mid-1960s that we're talking about. So he got this idea, he wanted to do a documentary about Charles Schultz, met him, talked to him about it and all that. And Charles Schultz brought along a friend of his, Bill Melendez, who had done the animation for the Ford spots. So he was tapped to participate in this project. They put a concept together for this documentary with a few little animated bits, and they took it around, they tried to get some interest in it, tried to sell it. A whole year passed for this, and finally they got a nibble, he says, from an ad agency, McCann Erickson, who represented Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola was interested in the idea, but they wanted a Christmas special about the Peanuts. They're like, okay, could you do a Christmas special? And they're like, yeah, we could. So they got a better concept, a more firmer concept together for it, and Coca-Cola bought it, and so it was rushed into production. And this was 1965 already. This was like May or summer 1965, and it had to air that December, so they only had a few months to put it together. And so they hired, he talks about some of the nuts and bolts that went into this. For one thing, Sparky, Bill, and I, Sparky, of course, being Charles Schultz, Bill and I made some other basic decisions that were somewhat innovative at the time. We agreed to use, for the most part, the voices of real children aged 6 to 9 rather than adults pretending to be children. And he said because of this, some of these kids couldn't even read, so they had to feed them like a line at a time to speak, to voice these characters, maybe even a word at a time. So there was that. And then they wanted the music to be jazz. They wanted it to be a little bit different. This, by the way, is Charles Schulz and Bill Melendez acting out that famous football bit that Chuck and Lucy do. So he pulls it away on Bill Melendez. Anyways, they wanted the music to be jazz, so they got a tip from a jazz critic at the San Francisco Chronicle who said, well, I know this guy, his name is Vince Guaraldi, and he has kids, and he reads Peanuts, so it's like, okay, let's get him. So they had the music in the works, and then Bill Melendez had to rush through the animation. He completed over 30,000 animated cells, production cells, in less than 3 months. And then each one had to be inked and painted separately. Wow. Okay, so they put this thing together very, very quickly. They show it to 2 top CBS vice presidents. Neither of them laughed once. Here's their feedback. Too slow, the kids don't sound pro, the music is all wrong, the story kind of wanders, the Bible thing scares us, the script is too innocent, but hey, you gave it a good try. And then it aired on December 9th, 1965, and was a success. All heaven broke loose was the quote, and everybody loved it, so thank goodness for that, and a little bit of TV history was made, so so fun. Now, these figures are not straight out of the TV show like the other figures I showed on a previous episode, but they're fun and they're designed to be Christmas ornaments, right? And they're still the PVC style, and I believe they're all Whitman. I could confirm on a website that I've shown you in the past on the other episodes that this one was definitely Whitman, because this one is available right now as I'm shooting this. Snoopy on the skis with the little earmuffs. So I'm assuming they all were. And they're very adorable. Look at this. You could kind of consider this from the TV show if Snoopy is decorating that tree with Charlie Brown. You know, he's got all these ornaments or these lights strung around him. But another thing I'll show you, I had almost forgotten I have this. Here's one of the boxes for Whitman's candies that one of these came on. And you can see there's holes here, how they were attached. And right now it's holding beads for me years later. But there was like little twisty ties that would come through and attach the figure in the front. And then it's a reusable plastic box, which I love. And obviously I've reused it. And I looked at the date on the back. It has a $4.99 price tag, by the way, original price tag. And it is dated 2011, so that's when I got at least one of these figures when they were out in stores. And I even found, look at that, I would have shown that in the Valentine's Day episode if I would have remembered I had it. This also is holding knickknacks and whatnot. Valentine Day figure went in front, and there was peanut butter cups. Both of these are peanut butter cups, and I love peanut butter cups. This one I could not find a date on. It just has the copyright, trademark Peanuts UFS, and then it's got the Snoopy.com website with the nutrition facts, copyright Whitman's Candies Inc., and then it just has the address. So I'm not seeing the date on here, but another box, which is very fun. And then just a couple other quick things I will show you in the context of Peanuts and Christmas time, because it is Christmas time, our favorite time of the year. Look at this little book. I don't actually have the Charlie Brown Christmas novelization that the type of book that I've shown in the previous episodes, but I got this. Look at this. Holiday Poems featuring Charlie Brown and his friends. And I've got a lot of Peanuts books, but this one is different. It's actually got little poems. Isn't that sweet? Christmas cards. So lots of wonderful illustrations. Dear Santa, and some poems. Something that you could read to a little kid. And then one other one I will show you. Christmas is Together Time. I've got a couple of these styles of books, but this is the one that is Christmas time. So you look through this, and it's just got little sayings. Christmas is when you hug your little brother. Really? Really, Lucy? Christmas is giving your last 2 nickels to the Salvation Army cheerfully. So very sweet. And that is another thing that you could certainly read to your kids. Oh, look at this. Let's see what we got. Determined Prod Ink, San Francisco. Now that you've added another Peanuts favorite to your collection. Oh, so you could order more. Oh my gosh. As I've said before, it's like I'm going into this stuff live sometimes. Now, one more tiny thing I will show you, and it's actually back in this book. I'm going to find that chapter again, because right after Lee Mendelson tells the story of this TV special that they threw together so quickly, that was just a masterpiece. This, by the way, is a picture. I can't quite get it all in there, but Lee Mendelson is on the left. That's the author of this book who's telling the story. Then Charles Schulz, then Bill Melendez, and they accepted an Emmy Award for the Charlie Brown Christmas. Anyways, there's this page, and this book was done in 1970, okay? So we're pretty early in the animated primetime TV specials for Charlie Brown. But it's got the 6 that were done at the time, and the books. It's showing the books. So here's the book that I don't have for Charlie Brown Christmas, and it has the air date of the original broadcast. Now, in the last episode for A Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, I mentioned that It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown was the 3rd animated primetime TV special for Charlie Brown. And I said, okay, does anybody know what the 2nd one is? A nice little trivia question. And I don't know if anybody guessed it or got it right. But it was Charlie Brown's All-Stars, which was originally broadcast June 8th, 1966. So here's the book for that. Great Pumpkin, original book. You're in Love, Charlie Brown was the following June 12th, 1967. He's Your Dog, Charlie Brown, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 1968. And then one that we talked about on the previous episode, it was A Short Summer, Charlie Brown, September 27th, 1969, it says. So just kind of a fun little thing where they're showing the books and talking about the TV shows as we have done in previous episodes of this series. So that rounds out our celebration of Snoopy PVCs and Snoopy on the small screen. I love it. Thank you for watching once again, and keep it tuned here to BRBTV for lots more great collectibles.